Hi everybody, happy Sunday. Hope you're having a nice day and getting all your chores done or lazing around or whatever. I'm trying to record this while I have laundry drying. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you today the work of the ancient Greek poet Sappho, who was believed to have been born in 630 BCE and to have died in 570 BCE. Sappho was quite famous in her day. Subsequent generations referred to her as the 10th muse, or as the poetess. She was kind of a big deal. You can think of her as a singer-songwriter, like a popular singer-songwriter, because if you don't know, the tradition of lyric poetry begins in ancient Greece and begins with the actual singing of poetry. So lyric poetry comes from the word lyre, L-Y-R-E. So this poetry would have been sung to the accompaniment of a lyre. And as I understand it, Sappho was known not only for her beautiful words and music, but also for musical innovations in the form of the lyric. So she, we get the word lesbian from Sappho. You know, she grew up on the island of Lesbos, and so over the centuries, she has become something of a gay icon because a lot of her poetry is love songs to young women, celebrating the beauty of young women. You know, it's one of these things, it's like a perennial debate. Was Sappho a lesbian? Was Sappho gay? And they're kind of like silly questions to ask. It's hard to know, you know, about this ancient culture and this ancient person. So I think those are like ongoing scholarly debates for some reason. But, you know, what we do know is that she wrote beautiful poetry, some of which was about beautiful girls, others about wars, battles, city-states, nature, personal drama. She wrote all kinds of stuff. The other important thing to know about Sappho, if you don't, is that the vast majority of her work, I think everything except for one or two poems, exists only in fragments. So over the centuries, when people recorded her poetry, they often wrote it down on papyrus, and that just physically deteriorates. And so even like, you know, just a couple of years ago, I think there was like a new find of new Sappho poetry. And whenever that happens, it's almost always just some words or letters surrounded by literally nothing, decayed paper. So that's always something to keep in mind when you're reading Sappho. You're almost never reading a complete work. And of course, it's a big consideration for every translator of Sappho. And different translators approach this differently. People like Anne Carson and Guy Davenport, I think their approach is to like leave the blank spaces in the translation, separate them by brackets or, you know, ellipses or something. So as you read the poem, you're kind of looking at like a ruined statue, you know, a statue with no limbs, an ancient thing that you know is incomplete. Another approach, which is the approach I'll share with you today, by the translator Willis Barnstone, is to do what he calls like making educated guesses, inferences, based on what he has before him about what words or letters are likely to have been around those, in order to make a more complete reading experience for a contemporary audience. Kind of a controversial approach, I think, but it is, I like reading Sappho both ways. I have kind of a sentimental attachment to this latter approach, just because this edition is how I fell in love with Sappho. I picked this up many years ago at the wonderful bookstore in Detroit that used to be in the Park Shelton called Leopold's, and I fell so in love with her and her work in this form. So Willis Barnstone says in his introduction that he's really interested in making Sappho modern, and so he's translating it here into very simple contemporary English. He gives a little cute title to each fragment that he's translated, and I think in this version of Sappho, you know, we have the opportunity to like look back at this very different time and place, feel this connection to this ancient civilization, while at the same time really seeing ourselves in it. In translation by Willis Barnstone, these Sappho poems are these beautiful little simple stories that I'm really excited to share with you. So I've picked 10, and I'll just start. So I'll read the title that Barnstone assigned to each, and then the fragment. Alone. The moon and the Pleiades are set. It is midnight, and time spins away. I lie in my bed alone. Homecoming. You came when I was longing for you, and to my heart, suffering in passion's fire, you were delicious ice. Blast of love. Like a mountain whirlwind punishing the oak trees, love shattered my heart. Shall I? I don't know what to do. I say yes, and then no. A girl. One day I watched a tender girl picking some wildflowers. To a handsome man. If you are my friend, stand up before me and scatter the grace that's in your eyes. Cicada. Rubbing its wings incessantly, a cicada pours flaming summer over the earth in luminous song. No oblivion. Someone, I tell you, will remember us. And finally, Eros. Now in my heart I see clearly a beautiful face shining, etched by love. Thank you.